Welcome back to Sub-Zero Hero. So how are things going in the league? They're going okay. They're going average. They're certainly going no better than that. We're approaching a month-long break in the season where they're going to be playing the European Championships. And, surprisingly, we're even going to have a player at that tournament. So you guessed it, the player in question is Yuri Grachev. Russia have called him up to their 23-man squad for the Euros. Look at the clubs that are represented in the Russian squad. You've got Liverpool, Sevilla, Atletico Madrid and Tromsdalen. I mean, some of the players that he's going to be playing alongside are world class. Is Grachev of that standard? No, he's absolutely nowhere near. Doesn't seem to be developing that much this season, to be honest. I think he's pretty close to maxing out his potential at the age of 17 years old, but he's got this wonderful little knack of playing well and creating goals for us. Perhaps playing beyond his attributes suggests that he should be playing at, but his absence is going to give us a little bit of a problem. He's already been missing for the last couple of games. He's going to be missing as well, which means we are short of a left back. Who would we like to call up as our left back? Well, ideally, we would put Jawad out there from centre half. This is a player, by the way, who I don't think has maxed out his potential yet, because he is training better than you could possibly wish for. And I actually think maybe he's looking like a better player than Grachev now. And again, he's getting some wonderful ratings for us this season, but he's off with the Iraq squad at the moment. That is going to leave us woefully short in defence for today's game. And to today's game, we've made some changes to our system because we're doing okay in the league, as I mentioned in the intro, but things are not really clicking. We've dropped a lot of points this season. So for the next couple of games, I'm going to see if we can benefit from just simplifying things a little bit, making people's jobs a little bit easier. We're going from wing-backs to full-backs. We're going for an anchor man at the base of the midfield to try and protect the defence. We're going for a target man rather than a false nine. Why? Because we're going to bring Empa back into the team. Why? Because we cannot find anybody else that will score a blasted goal for us. This is how we've been getting on so far. In the last episode, you saw us kick the season off with a 1-0 victory over Lillestrøm. And since then, well, we've been pottering around. We've not been blowing any teams away. We've not been on any kind of consistent run. We've just been meh. So we followed up our opening day victory by losing 1-0 to Rosenborg. Certainly no disgrace in that. Could have been a slightly worse result given the XG, I think. But it's going to kick off a recurring theme that you'll see, that our front three of Runnigan, Skogpeds and Skogdal, no performances from them this season. Certainly, you won't see all three of them firing in the same game. We lost to Rosenborg, but that's always a possibility. In the next two games, I thought we were doing well this season. We beat Sandefjord. It wasn't perhaps the most convincing performance you've ever seen. Thijs Sperovic started as the false nine for us because Runnigan was injured. You'll see that the wide players didn't put in any kind of performance at all. Neither did the midfield too, but we got a 2-0 win and we followed it up by beating Viking 2-0 as well. However, again, you'll see that there's no performance from Runnigan. No performance from Skogvang Pedersen. It's actually Thijs Sperovic that was playing well in this early part of the season. And again, the central midfield too, not contributing a lot. And then the wheels started to come off in a particularly worrying way. We lost 2-1 to Haugesund. This is a game, really, that we could have won. We took an early lead through Skogvang Pedersen, but you'll see nothing from Skogdal, nothing from the midfield too in this game either. And actually, we ended up gifting Haugesund away back into the game. And just after half-time, they scored a very good goal to take the lead. We huffed and we puffed, but we couldn't equalise. Their XG was slightly better than ours, but we had enough chances to have got at least a point from this game before what I'm going to describe as the lowest point of the series so far. We've suffered our first giant killing, and anybody with hopes of cup glory this season is going to have to put those on hold for another year. We had more than enough chances to win this game comfortably We had to wait to the 61st minute before we scored a goal. Disastrously, we let the opposition score 2 of their own inside the last 10 minutes, and we lost in the cup to a team 2 divisions below us. Who is culpable? Well, look not on the field. Look directly into the dugout. I got cocky. I played way too many youngsters in this game, just trying to give a rest to some of our bigger names, and they could not stand up to a team that was 2 divisions below them. We had poor performances throughout the side. They should still have won the game, and I will take the hit on that one. I have cost us a cup run this season, but in the league, I think the players are going to have to take the blame. We lost to Bode Glimt, another game where, if you look at the match stats, we should have got at least a point from this game. But look at our front 3. Nothing from them at all. Look at the midfield too. They didn't contribute either. We've recovered slightly, although you'll see scoring goals very late in games is the only thing that's really allowed us to pick up a few points. Over the last half dozen games or so, we played the derby against Tromsdalen. Again, we absolutely dominated the match stats. Did we score? Did we heck it like? The wide players were poor. The striker couldn't finish either, and we needed goals in the 91st and 93rd minute just to get us a result in this game. We then played Vålerenga. We got a 1-1 draw. I was actually pleased with that result, but again, an equaliser fairly late in the game was needed. We then played Stabæk. On the face of it, not a spectacular result, but this team are absolutely flying and were top of the table when we played this game. Again, we dominated the match stats. We did really well against the team top of the table, but, well, with 5 minutes left to play, we find ourselves a goal down. With 3 minutes left to play, we find ourselves 2-0 down. We needed equalisers in the 92nd and 95th minute this time, just to grab a much-deserved point before another disappointing performance. This time we lost to Odd, who were just outside the relegation zone. We dominated the match stats. How did the front 3 do? Poorly. How did the central midfield 2 do? Just as bad. We've picked up a 1-1 draw with Molde. In our most recent game we got a win, but again, we dominated the match stats, but we needed an injury time winner this time. It was from one of our youngsters who came up for a corner in the very last minute of the game. And Nilsson, who, a year ago, I didn't give a contract to when he first came through the club and had to scramble to get him just before his youth contract expired. He's now in the first team scoring vital goals for us. But again, Skogdal did not play great. We got slightly better performances from our midfield, but we've definitely encountered a little bit of a sticky spell in this series. We're currently in 6th place, no disasters there. We're always better in the second half of the season than the first, it seems, but we are a long way from those European places. We're on 18 points. We need to get up to Molde on 23, or preferably Rosenborg on 24, in order to get into that European shake-up, which is why we've decided to mix things up for today's game. We're going with a simplified midfielder, 1 central midfielder on support, 1 on attack. We're going with a more simple striking structure with a target man and 2 out-and-out wingers. And we're going to see whether this can make a much-needed difference to our performance on the pitch. Okay, the game is underway. We are the away team, but we're in our home strip today. We're having to play 2 pretty raw central defenders today as well, in order to try and just impose a little bit of height in the team, because we've been woefully lacking in that regard. And without Jawad at the back to organise them, it means I think we've got a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old as our central defenders. We need to try and get a little bit of momentum going, I feel, from this game, but it's not going to be an easy one. I know Brann are towards the bottom of the table, but they've got an expensively assembled squad, and they are in pretty early against us, but it was offside. But it just shows that they are a dangerous side. Today we've got Hugo Riding, who's come in as our left back. He's a left winger, really, and he's not even a first choice left winger. He's not even our second choice left winger, but he's come in as our left back today. Who are we looking for performances from? We're looking for performances from the Skogs, really. And Skogvang Pedersen has won us an early penalty. Can Hugo re-announce himself back in the first team? I think he might. He's fired one past their keeper. We needed that cheap goal from a penalty just to settle the nerves, because we have not been able to hit a pig's backside with a banjo in most of our games. Maybe from the penalty spot we can finally maybe get ourselves into a lead that we can go on and stretch. We're 20 minutes into the game. You'll see that penalty is the only effort of the game for either side, but we have tried to shore things up a little bit. We've got those fullbacks rather than the wingbacks. We've got the anchor man at the base of the midfield. I guess we're not going to be too creative in this game, so we should not be surprised that we've only got one shot. But with our second shot, look at that from Runnigan. He has spanked one home. Runnigan dropping into the midfield for us today because oh my goodness, he has missed some chances when he has been the false nine. So we're hoping that just moving him back means that we still have our best player on the pitch, but just not in a striking role, because he has been offering nothing for us up front this season. 30 minutes gone, only 2 efforts, both on target, and we've scored from them both. I think actually, should we pause the game, give them a shout and say they've actually made a pretty decent start. They've restricted Brand to just 1 shot. And coming up to 40 minutes, we've got another highlight. We've got Riding, we've got Runnigan. Looks like he's pulling a few strings for us today. Heidecker, I don't think will ever have a shot. He's worked the ball out wide. We got it to Berntsen, into Fjellingsdal. That wasn't a very convincing effort. I'm not sure that was even worthy of a highlight. But we'll take it. We want to try and keep them shut out until half-time, though, and they've got a throw-in. We don't want to be gifting them a route back into the match right on the stroke of the half. It was offside. God, the centre-halves didn't pick him up, though, did they? And we are going into half-time with a 2-0 lead. Given some of our performances so far this season, you'll say, the job is far from done. I think we might need a third. Chances of us keeping a clean sheet, I would say, are particularly slim. We'll go and have a little look, see if there's any tired legs out there. Maybe make a little tweak to the defensive line before we see you for the second half. Okay, we are back underway. Despite 3 of our back 4 being on a 6.6 rating, we have resisted the urge to make changes. We're going to trust in those 2 youngsters. We're going to see if they can nurse us through to the 60-minute mark, still with a 2-goal lead. Elsewhere, we've got some pretty decent performances, but it looks like Skogdal might have picked up a knock. We've got Thijs Sparrevic on the bench, who's going to be a direct replacement. And that is indeed the change that we are going to make. Thijs Sparrevic, by the way, been playing okay at parts this season. He's not the most consistent, but in training, he's doing a little bit better. Berntsen has given away a terrible pass there. I thought we were having a highlight, but we're actually defending one. And they're going to have a strike at goal. And you know what? They are back in the game at 2-1. And that was all of Berntsen's making. He's given the ball away on the halfway line with a sloppy pass. And we had all the men back in the world here. And he has just waltzed past our defence. Riding, the left back, could have picked him up. The centre-halves could have picked him up. Nobody did. And now we're getting to the 60-minute mark. And we're looking to try and hang on. I think it's time for another little change, and we're going to see if we can see this result home. Okay, all of our changes are made, and we've still got half an hour to play. We've rotated both of the centre-halves out. One's come off for Nasa. The other, we switched Heidecker from the anchorman into the centre of defence, and we brought Herem on to play just in front of the back 4. Is he an anchorman? No. I think he's got tackling of 8, but he can distribute the ball a little bit better than Heidecker could, so that might be useful in the last 20-odd minutes of the game. I thought we might need a 3rd goal to make this comfortable. We certainly need a 3rd goal now. We've got Skogvang Pedersen. We've got Thijs Sparrevic. He's blasted it against the defender, and they are off again. They've got Vulcan. He's got the ball out wide. Don't bring him down. He's bounced off him instead, and Rojas has had a header, and we needed Pedersen to save us there. Okay, we've dragged the line of engagement down a little bit, but not the defensive line, and we've taken our central midfielder with the attack duty down to a box-to-box midfielder. So hopefully Fjellingsdal will help out the defence a little bit more. He's helping out the attack now, though. Here he is on the ball. He's got Emperor and he's got Sperovic in. Sperovic has had the most wasteful effort you could imagine. And is that as good a chance as we're creating towards the end of this game? I fear it is. I also fear that Bran have got another effort in them. We've got 4 minutes left. They've got the ball out wide. He's through. He's put it wide of the goal, but without your first choice defence, you're struggling a little bit. By the way, talking of defenders, Agner Bratton, have we missed him this season? Not that much, to be honest. Defensively, he's not where the problems have really been. It's been going forward, where we've been creating chances and wasting them all, that the problems have been emanating from. It really is to do with the Skogs. Our wide players have not been firing like they were last season, and Runnigan back in on loan rather than with the club permanently. He's not getting the same ratings or influencing the games quite as well as before we sold him to Milan. We've still got, 3 minutes of injury time left? And what's happened now? Have we given away a free kick right on the edge of the box? I fear we might have. Goodness me, that was close to being a penalty. And they have fired a header over the bar. And we are going to unashamedly make some changes to our instructions. The tempo's coming down. The passing's coming down. We're going to play a little bit narrower as well. And the time wasting and the discipline is coming on. I think even once the game restarts, unashamedly, we are just going to pull the wingers back. Ask them to play as part of a flat midfield 4. We're not even going to ask them to bomb on. They're going to go for a support duty. And you know what? I'm feeling like our fullbacks are just going to sit in. I think it's been a bit of a torrid afternoon for Riding. He's on a 6.6. He's not been the worst performer out there. But he's given a throw straight to the opposition. I mean, if you can't even throw it to your own team, well, you just can't legislate for that kind of play. They've got the ball forward. We've cleared it. We've got Emperor up top. At least at 6'7", he's going to win those. But it's coming straight back at us. We need to try and win the ball again. We've managed to get the ball, but we've given it behind for a corner. This is a tense little end to the game. We're clinging on, aren't we? We started the game so positively, but we are clinging on. We need you to chase that down. God, he's not even made an effort to sprint over. Who is that? Tice Sperovic did not fancy it at all. Too late now, son. You could have won the ball for us. And we're getting towards 95. We're looking to the ref now. He's going to be the most important factor for us. Get it away and blow the whistle, ref. Oh, Runnigan's clearing it for us. And there is the whistle. Goodness me. Were we worth that victory? I'm not sure we are. Have we blown any teams away this season? Don't think we have. We're going to keep morale up because it's sadly lacking and tell them that they've done okay. Well, at least that win drags us back towards those European places. Start just ahead of us have lost their game. Mulder are yet to play. Rosenborg were able to win, so they've stretched a little bit further ahead. We're 6 points behind them. Our next game is actually against Start. A great opportunity, maybe, if Mulder were to lose a game, for us to make our way back towards that top 4. So, we've got plenty of work left to do. And going into the second half of the season, you know what we've got coming. It's European football. Maybe that might serve as a little bit of extra motivation to the boys in training and out on the pitch to put in some performances, because only the very best performances are going to help us in our European quest. You never know, depending on when those fixtures are drawn, Europe could be the next game that we come back for in Sub-Zero Hero.